Hi everyone, and welcome to another one of my live videos. Hopefully you're tuning in live. I want to continue on the topic of being an empath. This time, let's talk about how to advocate for yourself as an empath. It was a question that somebody presented in my last video, and I have been putting out a lot of content on tools for empaths. I feel like I'm on a bit of a roll on this subject, so that's why I wanted to keep going, because we've been getting some incredible feedback and people writing in and telling me how helpful it is. We've created an empath toolkit, which is downloadable. So today, let's talk about how to self-advocate. So first of all, it's important for empaths, especially if you have a tendency to be a little bit of a people pleaser or very non-confrontational. It's important to be aware that you will, without thinking, instinctively respond to people when they make an inquiry to you, when they ask you for something, that you will instinctively put their needs before yours. You see, the thing about being an empath is that you are very aware of how other people feel. You are very sensitive to the feelings of other people more than to your feelings. And so your instinct when someone asks you for something like, hey, will you help me move house on such and such date? I'm going to need you for 2 full days or blah, blah, blah. Instinctively, without thinking, you're like immediately your mind is with them and what they need. And you'll go, yeah, sure, I'll make myself available. I'll clear my calendar. So if you are one of those people, you need to listen carefully to this video, because again, empaths tend to feel other people's emotions. Sometimes they feel what other people's needs more than their own. And after you've said yes, after you've committed, you walk away and you go, oh, damn, I'm doing this and this on that day. And then you feel really torn. Shall I cancel all my appointments? I did say yes to them. I don't want to then displease them. I don't want to confront them and say, no, I was mistaken. So if you have the tendency to do that, be aware that you tend to do that. And start to make it more of a habit of saying, hey, yeah, I totally hear you. Oh man, I really feel for you. Let me get back to you. Let me check my calendar. Let me check my plans. Let me get back to you. Let me get back to you. But you can always open with, wow, that's a lot. Yeah, I really feel for you. Oh, wow, I'm sure you need the help. Or, yeah, I totally understand you need the support. Okay, let me get back to you. So I want you to start to get into the habit of doing things like that for yourself. So empaths also need to realize that they need to get grounded more. You need to get grounded, and you need to realize that your voice matters. Your needs matters. Start to become more aware of how you tend to you tend to repress your own needs over the needs of other people. So some people listening in might be thinking, but what's wrong with that? If that's your natural tendency, that's great. The world needs more people like you, where you are always out there and helping other people. No, here's what happens. It's not that you don't have needs. It's just that because the needs of other people are so loud to you that you repress your needs, and you repress them and you repress them until either you get sick or you explode and you start to resent all the people whose needs you've been fulfilling while repressing or succumbing to your own needs. So this is why it's important not to let it mount up to that level. So another thing to be aware of is empaths tend to also succumb to the voices and views of people who they see as authorities. For example, doctors, anyone in a coat. Someone in a white coat tells you something, and they can instill the fear of God in you. Don't let white coats dictate your health trajectory. Don't let them dictate the day that you are going to die. Nobody knows this. Nobody knows when you are going to die. So if you are about to go and get test results or anything like that from a doctor, I would like you to prepare yourself. So the whole thing with dealing with doctors and health and advocating for yourself in the healthcare is a whole other thing, which I will just cover real quick in a couple of bullet points now, because we want to also look at your comments and questions. But one thing is that before you go in to get test results, I would like you to get yourself grounded, take some deep breaths, center yourself. See yourself as this big soul with a purpose in life. Do a few of these things before you go in to get test results. The next thing is to remind yourself, nobody knows your trajectory. They don't know where you've come from, how you deal with your health. They don't know where you're going. If a doctor gives you a trajectory and tells you that, oh, you only have 3 months to live, or your health is only deteriorating from here, they are going by research and past experiences. They are going by where you're at now and predicting where it can be. But remember, you are a soul and a person, and you can change the trajectory of your life by making changes to your lifestyle. Your doctor doesn't necessarily know that because they cannot control your lifestyle. So they're going by things that they can control, but you are in control of your lifestyle. The doctor is going by statistics, but only you can control your lifestyle. So bear these things in mind. And if your doctor is not compassionate and gives you a scary diagnosis and does not believe in you or believe in your healing, remember, you are paying for them. You can change doctors. As an empath, I strongly encourage you to find medical professionals, healers, and people in the healthcare that resonate with you. You have to find somebody who you trust, who you're willing to put your health in their hands, and who actually makes you feel better. If there's one thing that your doctor needs to make you feel, it's to make you feel safe and better for being in their hands. They need to make you feel safe. Any doctor that makes you feel worse when you walk out than when you walked in, you need to change and look for a new doctor. Okay, so that's my piece about doctors.
I'm going to just jump in there, and because that is so powerful. If you are having trouble speaking to a doctor, a form of self-advocating can just be finding another care practitioner. You don't even need to have the verbal confrontation. You can advocate by making your own choice.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
I just love
that. So
you
don't need to go back. If your doctor intimidates you, you don't need to go back. And a key here, if you're dealing with doctors are not supposed to intimidate you. They're supposed to make you feel safe. Anybody whose doctor intimidates them and makes you feel scared to go see them, you need to change doctors. I cannot advocate that strongly enough. There are many wonderful doctors out there, and you can find one. Ask around and look for one that is compassionate, empathic, and will make you feel safe and cared for. So have we got any good comments, questions that need addressing? Otherwise, I'll keep going.
A lot of people saying thank you so much for this valuable information. Yes, yes, yes. And then an interesting comment is most doctors wouldn't be doctors if they knew that diseases start in the mind.
Yes, I like that. Because they do, and they do start in the mind. And remember, a doctor only deals with the physical, only the physical. So while you are dealing with your, with anything, with your health issues, be sure to look at what's going on in your mind and your life and your nutrition and all of the things. So many different elements feed into your health regime. So many. Everything from whether you're lonely, whether you feel your life matters, whether you feel there's passion in your life. Do you have people who love you? Do you have people you love? And so on. There's so many elements. Are you eating nutrition-dense foods? All of these things come into question. So go and see the right caregivers for each of these areas of your life. That's what you need to do if you're dealing with health issues. Also, in terms of just advocating for yourself in other areas, don't be afraid to set boundaries. You can set boundaries kindly. When you set boundaries, something where empaths and generally people pleasers mistakenly believe is that setting boundaries is selfish. Like saying no to someone is selfish. You mistakenly believe that you are putting that you're being selfish because you're not being thoughtful to the other person. You are not being selfish. You are just putting yourself at the same level as everyone else when you are able to have boundaries. You see, the thing is, when you sacrifice your life for other people, you're not being fair to yourself. Just like if somebody else is taking advantage of you and asking you to sacrifice your life for them, they're not being fair. They are being selfish. But here's what we're suggesting for you. We're suggesting you take care of your life. You're not asking someone else to sacrifice their life for you, and neither should you sacrifice your life for someone else. However, we all need each other. We don't work in a vacuum. But for you, your job is to take care of yourself. And from that place of self-care, you come into a place of abundance where you have energy equity instead of energy deficit. From that place of energy equity, you're able to help more people. You will never get to a place of energy equity and abundance if you're constantly self-sacrificing because you can't say no. So I want to remind you of this. And you can have boundaries in healthy and kind ways. Again, by telling people, let me get back to you, or telling people that you just want to check your schedule. And then here's the other piece. Don't leave things open-ended if you are the kind of person that has a tendency to be downtrodden and to be a doormat and to allow yourself to be walked all over. Don't say, yeah, sure, I can clear my whole weekend. No, even if you can clear your whole weekend, I would like you to do it in increments. This is an exercise for you if you are that kind of person. Say that, oh yeah, maybe I can do a couple of hours on Saturday. Shall we say from 2 to 4? Then at the time, if you find you're having fun and you can run longer, do it. Run longer, run till 5, run till 6. But allow yourself the freedom to decide at the time, because if you clear your weekend, you might find, and if you've committed your weekend, you might find you're doing something you really don't want to do. So start implementing these tools and these boundaries. And yes, I'm seeing Abby wave her hand.
I was going to say, this comes back to the old expression, you cannot pour from an empty cup, but it also makes me think of a older video you did on recharging your batteries as an empath. And it's the idea that if you just keep depleting and you never recharge, like...
Exactly. And think of your smartphone. When your smartphone battery goes into red, we freak out. We're like, oh my God, where's the charger? I got to charge it. I can't even be 1 minute with a dead phone. Yet we allow ourselves, our physical bodies, to discharge and go into the red for prolonged periods of time. And when you don't recharge your own batteries and your own energy, and you allow yourself to be depleted by other people for prolonged periods of time, and you're in the red zone for prolonged periods of time, do you know what happens? You start to develop symptoms in your body. You start to feel unwell, unplugged, unable to get up in the mornings. You feel you lose your passion for life. So remember, charge your batteries, and come from this place of abundance and energy equity when you're helping other people. Oh, and here's the other best part of this. When you come from this place of abundance and energy equity, your energy is big, and your presence in the room is enough to light people up and energize them. You don't even have to do anything. But when your energy is depleted, you actually have to work harder to uplift or help other people, which depletes your energy even more. So you go into deficit. You literally go into energy debt, where you then need other people to uplift you. You become needy. You need other people's energy because you're in debt, basically. So start to think of your energy as a currency, as a commodity, as something to exchange. So please fill up on your energy. And the other thing is build up a tribe of high vibe people who have energy equity. So when you're with them, you feel fed, and you also have them as your mentors, as people who you look to learn how to fill up your own cup. And so you can go to them when you're kind of stuck and say, hey, I need a kind way to respond to this person. And you can brainstorm with them. You need a community, a high vibe community. And go ahead,
we have
Abby.
a lot of great comments coming in. People saying, so right about the phone analogy. So I'm going to redirect people. There is an old video, and I think it's actually called Recharging Your Batteries on YouTube. So check that out to find out some more. We also had some comments about getting grounded, people saying, touch grass, you all.
Yes,
agree.
I agree. Go barefoot on grass, on sand. Go to the beach and go barefoot.
And I'm trying to scroll up to see some of the old comments, but someone said something interesting earlier about how they just expected, they thought everyone in the world, they were spiritual by nature, they thought everyone in the world was like that, and they're realizing that actually no. And I think that goes for empaths too. You kind of assume that everyone else is as empathic and as giving as you, and we get sucked into.
Yep.
You actually talked about this in your last video, how empaths are low-hanging fruit for narcissists. But
exactly. If you haven't seen my last video, please go back and watch that video. In that video, I talk about how if you are this way, we assume everybody's like this, but no, in fact, you can become a target for people like that. And one of the things that concerns me sometimes is that a lot of people who are not empaths, who really are looking to manipulate empaths, will learn the traits just to be able to entice empaths. So that's something that I was watching a video where somebody was speaking about that, where when you teach people, when you put out videos that teach people how to be more empathic, problem is narcissists love to watch videos like that, so that they can disguise themselves.
That's a whole different dark twist there.
I know, that's a whole different thing. We won't go down that road.
We have some other comments, though. I have someone asking about talking about love relationships. So I'm going to redirect you to Anita's last video on Empath's Guide to Love and Relationships. And then I found the scroll button. Here we go. Fantastic. So Annette said, I'm being told the cancer I'm being treated for could come back. And I'm like, no, it won't. I'm choosing to only listen to what I want to. I understand my journey now, and I have changed so much in my life. Selfish is my new mantra. Which
good for you. Good for you. Don't ever let anybody tell you that your cancer is coming back or maybe coming back. No, run with the lessons and say, you're done with cancer. And if anyone tells you you're in remission, turn that word into, it's time for me to remember my mission. So live your life with purpose, passion, mission, focus forward.
And then we have another question from YouTube. Could you give an example of setting boundaries with a difficult family member who doesn't want to take no for an answer?
That can be challenging. I have had experiences like that with distant relatives. So first of all, if it's possible for you to see them less, that would really help. And don't engage. So watch yourself. I noticed when I was getting stuck in the same spiral over and over again and was blaming the person who was pulling me into the spiral, I started to notice the pattern of where they were hooking me into the conversation. And all I did was respond differently or not respond at all. So when they would say something like, hey, what are we doing for so-and-so's birthday? And I would always respond, being the helpful person, oh, we could do this, or I would be the one making suggestions. And they would be like, great, why don't you do da-da-da-da-da? And so I started to notice what the pattern is. So now when they open with a line, I do not respond in the same way. I'm like, I'm not sure. What do you think? Don't get hooked in. And when they soon see that you're not getting hooked in, you're not being baited, you're no longer that person who's going to jump in and answer their questions and resolve their problems or do the things they want the person to do, and then they will stop. They will stop calling you. It's catching yourself and what are you responding to them. So thank you so much for tuning in, all of you, everybody who's tuned in. Really appreciate you. Please check last week's video. Please check out the package that we created for empaths in trying to create relationships, particularly love relationships, but it can apply to any kind of relationships. And I look forward to seeing you at my next live. And of course, there's also my book, Sensitive is the New Strong, where I really go deep into this topic. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you all. I'll keep reading your comments and use it as inspiration for future videos. Bye.